Stationary, minimum, maximum, and point of inflection, differentiation. We have a function here. If m equals to gradient, when the gradient is 0, we call that stationary point. At the stationary point, there are three types of stationary points: maximum, minimum, and point of inflection. There are two types of maximum: local and global maximums. Global sometimes is also called absolute. There are two types of minimum: local and global. There are two types of points of inflection: from positive to 0 to positive, and from negative to 0 to negative. Positive is the positive gradient, 0 is the 0 gradient, and negative is the negative gradient. You can see here a maximum there, minimum, maximum, minimum, maximum, minimum, point of inflection, maximum, point of inflection. With a maximum, you go from positive to 0 to negative gradient. Positive, 0, negative. We also call that a turning point. So TP stands for turning point. For minimum, we go from negative to 0 to positive gradient. Negative gradient, 0 gradient, and positive gradient. So if we call this as number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we can put those numbers here. So the local maximums are 1, it's a local maximum, 5 is a local maximum, and 3 is a local maximum. So 1, 5, and 3, or 1, 3, 5. Global maximum is 8. So that's 8. Local minimum are 2, 6. The global minimum is 4. That's the global minimum. The point of inflection are 7 and 9. Global maximum is the highest maximum, which is 8. Global minimum is the lowest minimum, which is 4. The rest are just local. You can see that's a positive gradient, positive m. And then when you get to 0, you're going up the hill, get to the top of the hill, that's stationary. Coming down the hill, that's negative gradient, that's maximum. Going down the gradient, get to the bottom, which is stationary, 0. And then climb it back up again, that would be minimum. Whenever you're thinking about stationary, always remember that the gradient at stationary is always 0. The y dx equal to 0. And you need to think about the stationary. Is it a maximum stationary? Is it a minimum stationary? Or is it a point of inflection stationary? At the stationary, like that, the gradient before then, if it's positive and you go stationary, you might then get a maximum or a point of inflection. So you need to find the gradient after that, which is now negative. So that if the gradient after that is negative, it's a maximum. If it's going from positive to 0 and then to positive, then it's a point of inflection. Likewise, at the minimum, the gradient coming down, and then it gets to 0, and then it goes from 0 to positive. Negative coming down to 0, and then negative again, that will be a point of inflection. Negative, 0, and positive is a minimum.